All right, here we are. We're through 2 weeks. We'll call it week three. Guess that's what people do, right? Um, Welcome in, Fantasy Football Podcast. Let's have ourselves a fun time. Let's bring in our guest. Here we are. There we go. Little new. We got a little more advanced technology.
Yeah, well, a little better than the Zoom we were running the past couple of seasons. Invested, upgraded.
Yes, 100%, 100%. So just trying to jizz it up, make it a little bit better, more
15
exciting.
years of the league or how 10 years of the league, gotta professionalize this.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're not going to, pay money to make this, too sophisticated, but we're going to make it a little bit more fun and advanced. So um, that's really what I wanted to do this year. Make a little change, make it a little bit better for everyone. And yeah, so anyway, I guess you could start by giving everyone a life update, but we all kind of know who you are already. But
That's
I'll let
right.
you
Well,
take the floor.
yeah, good to see everyone here. Looks like the pod is live. We got that notifications coming in, so we'll be excited to see who joins and who keeps on chatting. But once again, it is your two-time champion. Looks like we had a touchdown in the Dolphins game. Matt here, your equity law professional, the one who survived that left ride without us getting kicked out for laughing too much. But I'm excited about this year. I'm excited about where this league is going. I think it'll be a very interesting time.
I think so. It should be interesting. I'm excited to see what happens. Right. I think you know we're 2 weeks in. Week one, we had a bunch of upsets, kind of some surprises. Week two, reverted back to I think expectations. Right. Let's see
Mhm.
what happens. First before we really dive in, though, I got to charge you $5 to come in. I should have done that when you first appeared.
Well, that's right.
You
I
might as well just
still
charge
have my cup. I still have my Tombs cup from 2011. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. 2011. And they can't take this away because I won it in a pub quiz. But that, and I do have my 99 days t-shirt here somewhere. Let me see if I can pull that up as well. Yeah, here we are. 99 days, 2011.
Wow.
It's still here. It survived multiple moves, which is really something. Which is mainly a testament to how bad I am at cleaning out boxes. Because I don't think I've ever actually taken. I don't think I've worn the shirt in at least 12 years at this point. So maybe I'll keep it for the 15-year next summer. But yeah, that is quite something else.
I definitely don't have that shirt. I don't even know where along the way it disappeared. I'll put it this way: did you know who the current GM was of the Tombs until this week?
I did not.
Yep, hadn't heard
Eh,
that name in a good decade plus. I would gather.
yeah,
Um,
well, I mean,
you
it's good. Apparently, we have a question. We have some
Nope.
questions in the chat. What date is the 15-year? So I guess this podcast can just be me Googling things that are
No, no,
easily
no. The,
accessible.
the podcast would like to tell that commenter we are not Google. Siri, Alexa, or Google can answer the question for you. Of course, now the phone wakes up, right? You say the magic words.
That's right.
So, yeah.
It's sometime in June, like it always is.
Yeah, probably sometime in June. More maybe it will coincide with somebody's
Well,
wedding. Maybe it
it's,
won't.
it's actually May. It's actually May 29th through the 31st of 2026. So I guess I was wrong with it being in June. It is the last weekend in May. So I guess it means we have an early Memorial Day this next year.
I guess so. I guess so. Yeah. I don't know. I think the kids are off of school. I think it's the first week of June where there's no school. And I think that'd be a great time to have a wedding. Because it's very convenient. for travel
That's
purposes.
right. That's exactly right.
Throwing it out there.
Yeah, that time, those are all good times to have weddings. It's a good time to officiate a wedding. It's a good time to have a wedding. But those will be good times. Good times to do it.
Yeah, we'll see. Right? We'll see. We can't control any of that. I mean, look. Let's. I don't guess you want to turn to real football, fake football. You want to comment on the fact that the Bills are losing at home 7 minutes into the game. I mean, that what are the odds?
Well, it looks like, did they just turn the ball over?
No, they have it.
All right.
Maybe it was penalty on the kickoff. I don't know. I'm not paying attention to that.
No, me neither.
If you're coming here for live commentary on a football game, you are in the wrong place.
That's right. Can't give exact play-by-play.
We're hearing that June 20th looks like apparently a potential date.
It's a good date.
To get drunk,
I agree with that. It's a great date.
It's not Juneteenth though. June 20th.
Well, that's why June 20th.
Does that mean that some of us may have a day off around then?
Oh, I mean, I don't work for the feds.
Me neither, but sometimes when the courts are closed.
That's right.
Yeah. We'll see. So yeah, I mean, like I said, week 1, we had a bunch of what I would say upsets, right? Certainly in our division.
Yes.
Collectively, you saw that. I mean, look, only 2 teams are 2-0.
And the teams that are 2-0 are the ones that would not. I mean, Eric, yes, that obviously seems like the team that, all right, it was between him and Paul to start the season. Those would be your top 2 bye predictions. But then that 3rd edition division is all kind of a mess. I would not have thought that, Wagner starting out 2-0. Very interesting. On the back of his 16th round keeper, Tucker Kraft. Very surprising there.
Yeah, well, I don't know, right? I mean, I think that we can jump into it a little bit on some of this. If you go and you look at Wagner's team, certainly Tucker Kraft had a nice week last week. 21 points going to get it done, but I mean, it's not exactly inspiring much confidence. I mean, the running backs are Dylan Sampson, Brian Robinson. He's only averaging 93 points a week, which he's got no solutions on the bench. So he's 2-0, but I think that's mostly a product of that division.
It'll be really interesting to see what happens once you get out of divisional play, which will be next week. But I mean, who's he got this week? He's got, as I am looking on my schedule screen,
he's got Jacobs. So, I mean, it's just not a good division. 2 weeks in, the highest scoring team is 94 points. I mean, in terms of an average, that's not very good.
Yeah,
followers should be good, right? At least I'd say good. Should be at least decent because John, you have at least like a number 2 receiver. You've got 2 decent running backs, a really good quarterback. Like that should be a decent enough team in that in terms of what you could expect there in that division. But oh boy, I mean,
the
quality of team play, I'd be a little concerned.
Yeah, that is a fair point, but I mean that does mean there are some trades to be made, right? I mean, you look at Jacobs' team, and the wide receivers are interesting. The running backs should be better. I mean, look, quarter of quality starters just went out, and he has Justin Herbert as a 14th round pick.
Yep.
Like, that's someone that if you are looking to, talk to someone like me or like you, or, I don't know if anyone was riding with McCarthy, that Drew was. So Drew has
Yeah.
Caleb Williams. Like, there is something there that if Jacobs wants to, he could turn Justin Herbert into, one of these running backs, one of these wide receivers that could be a little better. And I mean, I'm not giving him any ideas. I don't need my division to improve, but there's definite trades to be made if you're making reasonable offers.
Look, I'm with you. I agree. I think that sometimes the strategy of acquiring a player like a Herbert, right, or like a Jordan Love in the draft is to obviously there's quality depth, but it also, if your team isn't going to be really competitive for the championship, that's a potential trade asset. I mean, if you have Joe Burrow, or if you had Dalton Kincaid touchdown, or
Yep.
running through the chat. So if you've got, if you have Burrow, if you have Purdy, if you have Jalen Hurts, right, you really aren't in love with the fact that 100 yards passing offense is not going to get it done. There are trades to be made.
That's right.
If you had Jared Goff, would you try to sell high? I don't know, right? But there are things to be made. Look, the number 8 overall quarterback in fantasy scoring, Russell Wilson, is available. So
still on the waiver wire. You can absolutely have
no fab.
That's right. It costs you nothing, and that's they could be playing from behind a bunch. It could be a bunch more deep balls again on Sunday night.
Yeah,
and we could all be looking here saying, "Oh, look, it was another like 25-point game for Russell Wilson," and no one decided to get after him.
Yeah, look, I'm with you. There certainly could be some trades made. I think that division, right? It's just, it just hasn't been.
Someone's got to win it.
Underwoman, someone's got to win it, right? And if you're going to rack up a bunch of division wins, that gets you along, very, very, far in that conversation. But yeah, it's such an interesting situation. I look through the league and I go, man, we've only got 2 teams who are winless. We've only got 2 undefeated teams. You got a whole lot of upsets and a whole lot of relatively even play. I look, as you may know, like, it takes a big man to admit when they're wrong, and I'm a big man, and my team's not very good. Now I'm 1-1. I'm going to take that win with me to the grave. You can't take that away. Flags fly forever. But I don't think I'm going to be in it competing, in the end. But, our division looks, because of those upsets, potentially like it's going to be a fight. And then towards the bottom, you have essentially 6 teams in the league that all relatively score the same number of points. And then, we got Richmond at the bottom. We can get to that at some point. And just, I think the benefit for the league and that team struggling. But yeah, I'd like to see some trades made. I guess, do you have any bets then on who's going to be the first person to trade a high 2027 pick? Or 2026 pick, right? Knowing that, like, that's really the last chance to do that and to go all in. And, who's going to be bold enough to do that first? I guess let's put it that way.
I mean, I think it's probably going to be the person who is usually on the acquiring end of all of those first round picks. I think we'll see Paul decide to make a move at a certain point to upgrade one of these pieces on his team, right? Like, Mahomes is interesting, but you could probably find upgrades there. It's good on running backs.
Yep.
Those wide receivers are a problem.
If this
Brian Thomas Jr. looks really bad.
Yep.
Zay Flowers is you're only going to get so far as a Ravens wide receiver because of all the rushing. And then, look, AJ Brown's going to get there eventually. I think
I don't know.
That's interestingly enough. But I mean, even looking at his bench, right? I think Chase Brown has a lot of problems now that Joe Burrow's out. Sure, Monangai exists. Olave is interesting with Spencer Rattler. But again, that's not going to be a championship type of move. But I think I could see Paul doing something like a trade with, I don't know. Let's look at Zach. If Zach doesn't come through, Evans and London are there. Like those are going to be some interesting trade pieces to move.
Yeah, I mean, this is my issue with AJ Brown and why it's not a player I wanted last year and why I wouldn't really want him this year. There's some big weeks and there's some real little weeks.
That's right.
And he's very feast or famine. And the problem is, if you have an offense where the quarterback doesn't want to throw it deep, and they don't want him to throw it deep, and they don't have to throw it deep, what's the purpose of the big, tall, fast guy who runs deep routes on the outside? And I'm not saying he's not going to end up as a top 20 player at the end of the year. But obviously, ranked 91st right now is not great. He was 100th last week, so we're going up. I'd be concerned.
Only improve.
100 yards passing is not good. That was not exactly a blowout. Chiefs defense played well, but they're going to run it somewhere in the 30 to 40 time range collectively between Hurts, Barkley, and the backups. I mean, they're going to run it 30 plus times. And they are not a tempo team, and they play slow, and they're deliberate in what they do. If I'm Paul, I agree. Brian Thomas thing's weird. You would have thought Hunter would have helped open some things up for him. Maybe it's just new coordinator. Are they trying to figure it out? I think Liam Cohen's a good coordinator. Coach, we'll see. I would think that I thought last week, he should have done more. Obviously, they tried to get him a touchdown. That was disappointing. I think there's more room for Brian Thomas to grow because that team's going to have to put up points weekly. Zay Flowers, 11 targets a game is not sustainable in that offense.
Nope.
So he's probably at a high water mark in terms of where he is right now. I do worry now that we're 2 weeks in, starting to see a little bit of these teams. Eagles tough schedule, run heavy. There's going to be boom weeks, but there's going to be a lot of those bust weeks. He's already had 2 of them. That would concern me if I'm Paul. If I'm Paul, I'm looking around and go, okay, I got a really good team. Yeah, my defense hasn't been what I thought. I don't know if I can trust Mahomes or Danny Dimes. So maybe, you try to make a move for quarterback. I don't know. But I'd definitely be looking around at receiver. Who can I try to buy low maybe right now? Or do I go all in, right? Do I go to that, like you said, Zach, right, who has like a Drake London, and you basically say, hey, Zach, you got JSN, Mike Evans, Drake London. I'll take one of these guys off your hands. Here's a second-round pick, right?
Right.
Now for Zach has been a little bit underwhelming because the week one, Liam had a couple of drops. He could have had more numbers. Dak's going to put up points. Jonathan Taylor's off to a great start. James Conner, sluggish, but he's got Kenneth Walker on the bench. Zach's the kind of team in that division where maybe he doesn't want to trade away because he's got a relatively easier path to a division win, but he's 0-2. So what does that do to your mentality if now you go out and you lose this week? Do you feel like you got to press? Because it's not a bad starting lineup, but it's
leaves little room for error. You're putting yourself in a tougher position, like I did when I lost week 1, right? Like I was counting on going at least, I wanted to go 2-1 out of the first division cycle,
Hmm.
And of course, still in play, but I have to do it going up against Paul, and it's looking slow early. So that's sort of the tougher going, right? If you are 1-2, 0-3, that is not a death sentence. It's not the end of it, but it lessens your room for error.
It does, right? I mean, this isn't the NFL where one team who goes 0-2 to start the year makes the playoffs every year, right? Who's it going to be? Is it going to be the Chiefs this year, right? That's the big one. It's not quite the same as much of a penalty in fantasy in the same way, but I am curious, right? I am curious to someone decide to make a move, and I think for that, the team that I have my eye on is what happens here is Joe. I mean, they're 0-2, barely breaking 80. It looks bad, right? In the sort of
Yeah,
the 10,000-foot view is this isn't good, right? Ashton Genty's not even trying to block the
Genty's.
defense. T. Higgins has got Jake Browning. Um, throwing in the ball. Ladd has been disappointing because Quentin Johnson's been really good. Keenan
Mhm.
Allen's been good. Obviously Jefferson. McCarthy. I mean the Vikings that's a stay away for me because
Yeah,
I don't think McCarthy. I have concerns. But like in a vacuum, it's not the worst situation. It just hasn't been great, right?
yeah. I mean,
But I do
looking at the
wonder, right, if
team, yeah,
he starts out and he's 1-4, is this the kind of roster that somebody goes, yeah, let me take a bet on a Genty, right, or
right.
on a Higgins, or even a Jefferson if you can try to make that deal work. Um, I do wonder. This is kind of that team that I look at and go, it can't be that bad, but
Yeah,
man, there's potential for this to get ugly fast.
yeah. I mean, the main thing here is I'm looking at it, right? Pollard is set to have a really big game this week. If that happens, if you get the big Tony Pollard game,
Hmm.
then and you get the Lad McConkey game because look, he's still getting a fair amount of targets. It's just the touchdowns are going somewhere else. So
Yeah.
you get the Pollard game, you get the McConkey game. That might be enough to keep you afloat, or it's also enough to be like, hey, I still don't think this is my year, but now I can actually get something if I make a trade for and trade away McConkey or Tony Pollard. Or I mean, I have no idea what's going on in Vegas. Once again, it's the Chip Kelly offense that is not doing anything impressive. Like I have
Yeah.
no idea what they're doing in
Well,
Vegas.
I mean, I have some thoughts. I mean, it's I mean, it's Pete Carroll, it's
Yep.
Chip Kelly, right? So you have like very different approaches to offense and organization and structure. So I don't even know how that works. You got Tom Brady in the background. Who knows how much he's actually involved or meddling? I don't know. That is always like, is he in there? Is he picking sides? Is he a powerful voice? Beyond that, you invested a ton of draft capital in a small running back who, yeah, played at a lower level in college, but he took a lot of carries.
Yep.
But yeah, he's not big. This is not like Derrick Henry. Genty is a small back in comparison. To be a lead back, he's a small guy.
Yeah.
They are not the best team. They don't have the best receiver. They might have the worst, or certainly bottom 5 pass catching group in the league. Offensive line is mediocre at best. Defensively, outside of Max Crosby, they're really not very good. So
Yeah.
it's not a good situation. Chip Kelly, he can't play fast with this
No.
offense because they will be on the field way too much. The defense will be too tired. They can't run it probably the way he wants because you've got a rookie who's, rookies normally struggle in pass protection. He's not very good at it right now, and he's small, so he's going to have limitations. I think that that's part of the problem with Genty. He's certainly going to have good weeks because he is talented, but that's a lot to bank on. I think here the biggest problem is, he's almost in a situation where injuries and I think improvements by other players on the teams of his own guys has kind of hurt him, right? The Burrow injury really hurts Higgins in the sense that Browning's decent, but
Yeah,
it's not like Higgins numbers are gonna take a somewhat of a dip. They have to,
that's
maybe
right.
80% of normal. McConkey now is in an offense where instead of being the number one guy, Quentin Johnston's having some kind of emergence. He is
Yep.
dominating here. What's this, like year 3? Keenan Allen's there. He's taking targets. Now McConkey's operate mostly out of the slot, usually doesn't go against the number one corner. He should not have Surtain on him, I would think, that much this weekend. So he
Right.
could go off, but that's a concern in an offense that doesn't throw a lot. There's now 2 other guys who can catch the ball. So that's a little bit of a lower ceiling. And obviously the McCarthy situation in Minnesota, I mean, that's a problem for Jefferson. So I just think the ceiling on his players has lowered from what you would have thought even a month ago, right? Just because the games start to be played, other guys get picked up, and injuries happen, and you just go, whoa, this looks different. And so that's why this feels like, I just think it's a team where, at some point, you just sort of say, look, I got to just think about next year. I don't know.
Yeah.
I could just see this going south, where it's 1-4, and you're kind of like, well, what's really,
What's the point? Yeah.
What's the prognosis, right? Looking at the schedule, et cetera. This week he plays Manny. That's a solid team. I mean,
Hey,
Barkley,
it's more than a solid team now that I've been looking. It's been
well,
staring at me
if
in
Kelsey
the
starts
past few
catching the ball,
minutes. Yeah.
right? If Kelsey starts catching the ball, it's a good team. You've got Harrison's been decent. Puka obviously, has the potential to go off any moment. Kyron's been a little bit of disappointment, but Barkley's really strong. Quinn
Yeah.
Johnson's had a really good start to the year. I mean, if he stays healthy, like Manny's got a good team.
100%.
It's hard to know because it's 2 weeks, but he's got Xavier Worthy on the bench. He's got Devonta Smith. He's got the Ravens defense. He's got
Maybe Omarion Hampton does something
right. Like
in
he's
the back half of the year.
got the Chargers running backs. Like that's not an awful situation to be in.
No, absolutely not.
It's probably now he needs a quarterback upgrade, right? Like if I'm Manny, I'm looking around. I'm going, okay, I can't depend on Rodgers
No.
for 16 weeks. So I do, and that would be a team that would be, I think, ripe for a quarterback trade. Manny's like, I gotta trade I don't know, like a Xavier Worthy for, I don't know. Maybe you look at somebody who has Brock Purdy, who's got somebody else who they like, and maybe you make that deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can wait a couple weeks and then you get him back. So, that to me, I think is Manny's the team in that division. I look at it and go, okay, one or two moves.
I mean, that's one of those things where, yeah, 1 or 2 moves can easily get that first or second wild card. Might even take a run at the division if it's a bit of a rock fight there, and Eric slips up,
Well, that's
which
the thing, right? I mean,
is possible. Again,
yeah,
Brock Bowers is great, but if that Vegas offense keeps on, backfiring every chance, that's going to be an issue. And then Gibbs is great. Kamara, Dobbins, CeeDee Lamb. That was a great call.
yeah.
Ted, is that Terrell McMillan? I don't know. Like,
yeah, that's what I think. I think that division is interesting, right? Because you look at Manny, there's 1 or 2 little upgrades he could make. Eric probably similarly. Like he probably needs Rashee Rice to come back and be really good,
yep.
or he's got to make a deal to get a better number 2 receiver. Again, he's had options to go and trade RJ Harvey, and go out and get a receiver upgrade. Hasn't done it yet.
I mean, who's trading for RJ Harvey at this point, though?
Well, not now, right? But before the season
Right.
started, right? You might go and say, look, there's the potential. And the other side, you've got Bodson. Look, Bodson has 2 Detroit receivers. That's a tough one to get behind. And I don't know that Juwan Johnson's going to do this all year. But,
yeah,
Jacobs is good. Bill,
That's
Bill
right.
Krosky Merritt, right? JCM. Hey, I don't know. That could be like the steal of everything. Achan, obviously, if the Dolphins ever decide to actually run the ball, could be good. Although, who knows what that would? I don't know that I want to trust the Dolphins, but that's not a
Yeah.
bad team either. This division has teams that are all kind of like very similar, very even with one another, one or two moves away in a lot of the same areas. So I'm keeping an eye on that because those are the teams to me that you
That's
don't want
right.
to wait too long, right? Like
No.
you want to be willing to make the move early. But I
And
like
we're
what.
still at the point where you can make football trades, which
Yep.
is, like, and that's the thing that we're not at the, oh, I have to do a pick and a prospect and play for next year. Like, it's only 2 weeks. After this week is week 3. But if you're making trades and you're trying to make a trade offer, we've been doing this now since 2013, 2014. We've gotten reasonably good at this. We know how this all works. Someone like people, it's not just like, oh, I'm reading one column, on ESPN, and that's how I'm setting my lineups for the week. I know a lot of people are, uh, either look at various ranking sites or different podcasts or what have you. Look at a trade value chart. I don't care if it's Fantasy Pros. I don't care if it's Draft Sharks. I don't care if it is CBS. Ooh, another that's a pitch to
Schultz.
some other. Yeah,
Hey, pie.
Hawks.
All right, sure.
Hawks. Oh boy! So congrats to Jacobs there for another Josh Allen passing touchdown on the shovel pass. But to what I was saying, we all can look at what the trade value charts are. And that's even before assigning keeper values into things or what you might want to do for your last season. Don't come to the people that have bad quarterbacks and their starters got hurt and propose them trades for quarterbacks who are ranked worse than Jake Browning. Just use and ask for a player ranked in the top 10 of scoring right now. So just don't do that.
Someone sounds a little bitter. What's the worst offer you've received so far for James Cook?
To a straight up.
Whoa. What?
Let me make sure that's the right one that I saw this morning because I got really mad about it. I mean, I had one that was all right. Here we go. Yeah, it was for Tua straight up. So that is a very
Did
obvious.
they do like a mental like a welfare check on this person? What?
I mean, look, this guy's a father of. We've all been there, sleep deprived.
Whoa. I mean, sure, okay, fine. I mean, look, I get it. Your quarterback is Jake Browning, who played like a half, 2.5 quarters
right.
of football, and it was at least decent in a shootout. I do think Brian Flores is going to bring some crazy pressures this week.
Yes.
Jake Browning better hope he stays healthy because holy crap, is Brian Flores going to make his life miserable?
Yeah.
Wow.
But then Tua for Cook, not going to happen. And then there was another offer that was interesting until I read the rest of it. So it was Cook and Collins for Josh Allen and Juwan Jennings. So that was like, oh, well, this looked interesting. And then the second piece was Juwan Jennings. And
But
now
what's
I'm
the
less
trade
interested.
value on that, right? Like, I wonder.
Right. That's the thing. Like, because I think if you do Allen for Cook straight up, it's slightly worse for me, but it's close enough that I have to think about it because of the fact that, like, I'm actually sneaky good at running back right now and that sort of thing, right? Because, like, okay, got Mason, got Williams.
Yeah, I mean that's like I mean, look, if you look at a trade value chart, you're missing the equivalent of like you would also need to someone would have to also give you like a T Higgins, right?
Right.
Or
Like
Lavi
there's
something like that. That's yeah,
but
Jawan
at
Jones,
least it's in the conversation, right? But then you get
right?
into the, oh, then the conversation's over. So all I ask, because look, one of my big things at the draft was we should have more football trades where both teams should be trying to improve in season. Uh, like those are things like just look at, just pick a chart, any chart that you like that's published by a reputable outlet, and so that way it seems reasonable. Football trades are great.
Look, I'm all for football trades. I just some of those are astoundingly bad. You know,
So so it has to make the first move. I learned
yeah.
that from Hitch as our
I mean, you come
good
90,
friend.
I'll go 10, right?
That's
Um,
right.
I think,
Yeah, not the full 100.
yeah, you don't go the full 100. I mean, look, I think it's interesting, right? Where what I find most hilarious, I think, right now is if you go and you look at like some of the league analyzer type of products that are out there, right? Wagner's 2-0, and he's projected as to come in tied for last. So
Yeah, those.
look, I'm just saying, right? I mean, I don't make these things. Power rankings matter, I guess. So you can get lucky. So, uh, yeah, if you're gonna make a trade offer, make it, I guess, legitimate, or at least I don't know, throw in a pick there, right? If you're getting like a third
Yeah.
round pick, you're probably like, whoa, well now we're talking. I just think it's really early. If you're trying to acquire what is the number one ranked player at their position 2 weeks in, who last year had a record year for them, a career year in touchdowns, you got to sort of come correct. But
That's right.
those are some pretty interesting offers. I mean, look, for you, I know you're not going to be terribly worried and panicked about Nico Collins. Maybe you are about Tyreek Hill, but at quarterback, you probably are a little panicked, right? I mean, Jake Browning maybe is serviceable enough for you. I know you like to say you have confidence in Bryce Young. I got a reason why you shouldn't be, but on top of all the other reasons, I got a whole other perspective on that. But are you worried at quarterback? Do you feel like that's the place where you're going to have to make a move?
I feel like, look, this week's going to be a problem. Let's see what happens the next two or three. And then we're going to find out, all right, because if quarterback is an issue, it's going to be an issue for me trying to hit a championship window, right? Like, because I'm decent enough at the skill positions. I've got McBride, I've got the running backs, got the wide receivers that aren't Tyreek Hill. Um, so that should be enough for me to finish somewhere between like third, fourth, and fifth every week if my team is good just without the quarterback, right? And if it like never gets out of first gear after the next couple of weeks, well, then I have a different problem. Like, eventually, I'm going to have to either make a move for a quarterback or hope that Bryce Young plays this really soft schedule. Not Atlanta this week, but the next few weeks are pretty, like, if he was ever going to do it, and if people are going to, talk about, oh, Tetsuo McMillan's going to be really good this year and that sort of thing, like, that means the quarterback has to do something. And look, games against New England, Miami, Dallas, the Jets, like, that's at least 4 weeks of seeing, okay, something interesting might happen here.
I get that. I might be looking around and looking at somebody like like a Kyler Murray, maybe, or
I mean, Herbert's right there. Like we
Herbert.
we
Yeah,
led off this conversation with Herbert.
we did. I would be surprised for that owner to trade you Herbert without you giving up something considerable. Football. If you're looking at just a football trade, you might need to look at someone like I said, a Kyler Murray, a Jordan Love, somebody who maybe that team, you can help that team, right, in a way that they are receptive versus let me give up a very good player. I just think, that's the risk, right? Again, you're a Giants fan. Russell Wilson is available.
That's
Jameis
right.
Winston is available. Jackson Dart is available. You can pick whichever Giants quarterback starts.
All of them.
You can have them. I suggest you go that route. That would be, I think, the more fun way to play. Maybe Michael Penis wants to get traded to your team. I don't know. Maybe somebody's so enamored with Jared Goff they're willing to trade Dak Prescott. I wouldn't.
Yeah. So this is interesting because I am looking at the trade chart, like the auto finder and analyzer on Fantasy Pros, and it's telling me a win-win trade would be Justin Herbert, Jalen Warren, and Travis Hunter for Jordan Mason, Zach Charbonnet, and Ricky Pearsall. So what would you think about that move?
Okay, so I got to go be the Herbert team for a minute. The Herbert team probably doesn't need two running backs, even if they give up one.
Well, let's
I don't know
put
that makes
to
sense
the test because
think about it. That team has Josh Allen, Travis Etienne, Bucky Irving, DK Metcalf.
I think Tootin is going to take that job from ETN sooner rather than later.
Oh, I mean, Tootin was an almost like must get at the point at which all the other rookie running backs were gone. So I just don't know that trade makes sense from that owner's perspective because they need an upgrade at receiver 2 and at flex. Now, they have Scatterbo, and Jalen Warren's been decent so far this year.
Aaron Jones is on the IR, I would assume he's old. Charbonnet and Walker is interesting. I would have liked this deal more last week if I was him, just because Charbonnet's weirdly hurt now.
Right, but then you're also asking that owner to take on two 49ers receivers. Right? So do you want to have Juwan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall with Brock Purdy hurt?
That sounds
like a bad idea. Right? That's I think the problem of that particular offer is if I'm the Herbert team, I would go throw in a pick. It doesn't have to be super high, but like a 5th or a 4th, and maybe I would do it if I don't think I'm going to be really good. But that team needs a true number 2 receiver and a flex. They might have a flex. They got a lot of running back options, so I understand. And look, trading a Jordan Mason, trading a Zach Charbonnet, like those are big rolls of the dice for you,
right?
But you don't really like acquiring Travis Hunter and giving up Ricky Pearsall. Like, what is that? Like, that doesn't do anything. You have to hope that the offset of having Herbert every week makes up the difference of what you're basically, not going to get at the receiver position. And I don't know that I would trust the Chargers to do that. They've looked really good. Herbert's looked good. But do you trust Justin Herbert to put up 20-plus fantasy points every week with Jim Harbaugh as the head coach?
Yeah,
to me, like, I don't know that it makes that team that much better, whereas it might make you a lot better, right? But you give up so much depth.
Yeah, it is a tough sell. It's interesting. It is interesting to think about. Paul did ask for what is a win-win trade involving his team. so I will scroll through that.
Ooh.
We're going to ask the machine. All right. New Mexico. So we have Nico Collins and Tyreek Hill for Mahomes, AJ Brown, and Zay Flowers, which I don't love because Collins has keeper value, and you kind of have to figure that out.
Yep.
And also, you
Tough.
can't really do it this week because Tyreek Hill's already played. That's kind of boring.
How about this? How about I got, you know what, my trade analyzer comes up with this proposal for you. Swift, Jordan Love, Braylon Allen for Javonte Williams and Zach Charbonnet.
Swift, Jordan Love. So Braylon Allen doesn't interest me because what was it? Who's the other Jets running back that's not Breece Hall? Because
I don't know.
The other guy was getting more work, and they're also kind of a mess.
Yeah, they're a mess. They're a real mess. Yeah.
Yeah. So then it's basically, what was it? Jordan. What were the other pieces there? It was Jordan Love,
DeAndre Swift.
Bears are a mess. Bears are really a mess.
Now it's got this offer for you: Tootin and Love for Jordan Mason.
That's intriguing.
That's a little bit more, right? That's in line with your thinking.
So what would that be? Jordan Love and Bashal Tootin for Jordan Mason. That is at least interesting enough that I would have to sit on it and think about it for a while. So there we go. Jordan Love for and Bashal Tootin. Yeah, that's interesting because, again, look, it's basically the Jordan Mason lottery ticket has hit. I think we can say that reasonably certain. So then you're thinking, all right, can Bashal Tootin, can that lottery ticket hit? Or even if it doesn't hit, can it be good enough to be like a flex through the bye weeks? And then does Jordan Love do enough to improve over Browning and Bryce Young? And is that enough? Yeah. I mean, that's interesting.
Over the course of 3 months, right? You're acquiring Jordan Love for 3 months of time. Now, the trade, if you look at a lot of trade charts, they would tell you that getting Tootin and Love is significantly more value than getting Jordan Mason, right? Which I think makes sense. That said, like that's a closer proposition for I think what you're looking for. I'm not saying that we're making this deal, right? There's a lot of things to be considered. It's not like it's that far off in the scheme of things. For me, it solves my RB1/2 problem, and for you, it solves your quarterback problem, right? So that's the type of football type trade, and maybe I say, hey, throw in a late round pick, so I feel good about it. Like that's a potential, right? That's a sleep on it. Maybe not.
Yeah.
We'll see. I think that's kind of the interesting thing. I know Paul is listening, so he wants to know what type of trades exist for him. I mean,
let's see.
I don't think there's enough.
Just because Paul's been listening.
Yeah, we'll throw
all this. Our dedicated followers here. We're doing great podcasting right now. It's me vamping and scrolling through a bunch of different trade offers. All right, so for this week, so here again, we have they all involve Patrick Mahomes, which is interesting because I kind of think he's done. So that's going to cause a bit of an issue.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. The Mahomes question is when Paul drafted Mahomes, in my mind, I went, man, that's not the quarterback I want to hitch my wagon to when I get at some point. You know, it
Yes.
is sort of how the draft falls.
Yeah, but there is
But yeah,
it's Javante for Patrick Mahomes straight up, and Javante is slight. I am coming out slightly ahead by trading Javante Williams for Patrick Mahomes. That's a bit of a loss for Paul, but it's a small one. As far as win-win goes, we have Jordan Mason and Tyreek Hill for Mahomes and Zay Flowers. Again, interesting. And Tyreek Hill does have that keeper value for Paul to consider as well. But those are the big machine trades.
look, we'll see.
And there's certainly it's still early enough in the season that football moves are out there if people want to make them.
Yeah, I mean that's what I think is right because of the injuries, particularly at quarterback, so early in the year. Most teams have two. A lot of teams have quality too. There are trades to be made, and I think some teams have that for serviceable running backs. Trades to be made. Um,
That's right.
I mean, so look, you can look over my shoulder here, and you can see all the picks that you didn't you traded away, and all the different crazy things that happened. But this is a time make a move, right? I think that this is where there are football trades to be made. We'll see if one happens, right? I mean, who knows? I'm not gonna sit here and speculate too wildly. I don't know. Maybe Paul stopped listening. He didn't respond to your commentary here. You're vamping in the chat. So there's that. We'll leave that there. We'll bring him on another time and see if we can execute the fabled live trade on air.
That's right.
I it's interesting, right? Like, let's see what's going to happen. I mean, I've given out my predictions, before, we really had a lot of data on who's going to do well. I mean, I think looking at it, right, you start to go through these teams, and obviously luck can happen, but I mean, I don't think anyone should be afraid of pulling the trigger at this early stage. If they feel like that makes them better, go for it. And that's the idea, but we'll see. I mean, look, for example, you got to go for it because the Dolphins 52 yards in the opening drive, 8 yards since. We are now, in the second quarter, or almost 5 minutes to halftime. They've got 60 total yards before this play. So
yeah,
that's
Prater missed the field goal. This should be 17-7, but he did not convert a 39-yarder, which, man, it must be so nice to root against a team that'll miss a 39-yard kick, or even like a 63-yard kick.
Yeah, I don't know, right? I mean, look, here we we'll wrap it up here. Like and subscribe,
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Leave us a review, 5 stars.
Whoa, wait, a 5-star review with a question. We'll answer that on the podcast.
That's right.
This is obviously all done just for our own personal edification and fun. I like the technology. I think it's made it a little bit more.
It's a little more fun. It's
a visual product, right? It's a visual product. Right. Look, the last week never made it to the audio platforms. We'll see if this one does. This is why you got to watch it. Whether you watch it live or not, I don't really care. But I do think visually it's a better product.
That's right.
It's got a little bit more pizzazz. So anyway, best of luck. I already beat you this year. They can't take it away. Flags fly forever, much like the trophy. So we'll leave it there. Who do you play? You play Paul.
I have Paul. It is a time where I need a really big James Cook game, and as of right now, I've got 9 points from Cook. I need more. I need more touchdowns from Cook. We're going to
see a lot of Ray Davis in the fourth quarter, in the last 10 minutes of this game.
That's right.
Paul's talking smack in the chat. I'll let you guys take that offline. All right, sir. I'm sure you're tired like I am.
Yep.
Get some sleep. Hope the everybody's doing well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, she's moving around, right?
Oh yeah. I spent the most of the halftime and like third quarter of the Giants game installing various baby gates and uh, like drawer locks. So we are on that step. We gotta
I know that, man. Our
everything.
house is baby proofed. We don't need any gates because we don't need stairs.
Yeah.
But our problem now is both of them can reach the doorknob, the handles.
Uh oh.
We don't have knobs. We have like flat
So
handles.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's not a problem because the older one knows like what to do, what he can't do or shouldn't do. But with the baby, it's like, holy crap. You got to lock the door now because otherwise he can just.
Right.
So it's more of a problem with like the garage.
Mm-hmm.
So
Uh,
we have like we've had it for a long time, like an extra thing at the top.
oh
So if
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
and on the front door, we have like an extra bolt at the way at the top of like hanging down to because that's the things you don't think about. It's like how do I keep my kid from literally walking out the front door?
Yep.
The two deadbolts aren't enough. So
Nah.
anyway, get some rest, and
Yep.
we'll
Same
see how this
here.
goes. We'll check in later in the year, I'm sure, and find out. So enjoy and
That's right.
say hi for everyone. All right.
Will do. Take care.